Hey everyone, welcome back to Saturday afternoon live stream. Yeah, there was a little bit of a timing issue with the opening pre-roll and the music. Um, and that's basically on me because once I launch the pre-roll, I need to hit the start button for the music, and I didn't occur to me. That's what happens. That's what you get when you take a week or two off from streaming. So anyway, we're back. It was 2 weeks ago since the last stream. Hope everyone had a good vacation. Not vacation, but vacation from Tony, but a good holiday weekend last weekend if you observed and celebrated the United States 250th celebration and July 4th. So it's good to be back. I've been playing around with a lot of stuff. We got a couple of people here already, so we'll get over to the chat in a few and say hello. Okay, so looks like the stream health is good. And yeah. Analytics, let me just check everything here. Okay, we are good. All right. YouTube Studio looks a little different to me. This typical screen that I'm usually on in YouTube Studio usually shows me the concurrent viewers, and I don't know if they moved it around or not, but hopefully I'll find it as we go. So anyway, yeah, it's been super hot here. We are in the midst of a major heat wave. In talking with Tim over in the UK, I know the UK is in a heat wave as well, and I also follow another gentleman, the 3D printing or 3D printing Taylor or 3D print Taylor, I think his channel name is. He's over in the UK, and he's been mentioning on his videos the heat wave there as well. I mean, it's going to be 96 today, which is a break compared to what it's been. On Wednesday it hit 100. On Thursday it hit 101. Yesterday it was between 98 and 99. So when I say 96 is a break, it has been smoldering. So I do have a YouTube poll going. And since I was lax about getting the weekly polls going for the month of July, we're 2 weeks in almost now. So I figured at this point, maybe I'll take a break. Maybe just, get away from it so it doesn't seem like the same mundane thing week after week. So my poll today is all about the chat, the weekly posts. But I'm batting 1,000 today. Do I bring them back in the fall? Do we take a little break, give everybody a little chance to recharge, including myself? Or do I bring them back now, or don't bring them back at all? So if you have a chance, weigh in on the actual poll that we have going in the chat. So got a couple of new things going on in the studio here. Made some minor tweaks. We can talk about those if you'd like. If you point them out, pick them out, I'd be happy to talk about them. But for now, let's go over to the chat and see who's here. So we have Mr. Tim Tech from the Mr. Tim Tech YouTube channel. Tim is here. Hey all, hoping everyone is having a great summertime day. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Bluey's here. Welcome, Bluey. This is slightly cooler today, only 26 degrees Celsius. I would have to do the conversion, but I'm guessing that's going to be somewhere in the upper 80s, low 90s. Welcome, Jeremy. Jeremy is here. Hello from Michigan. It's headed for a high of 82 today. Oh, I wish I would have an 82-degree day. I'd be out on the motorcycle again. When it's in the upper 90s like it is here, it's just unbearable even to be out on the bike. Between the heat, between the macadam pavement getting hot and reflecting the heat, and then from the engine and the motor heat, that's a trio for disaster. And Jeremy says 5x5. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Congratulations on your new kitty. The pictures you've been sharing in your member group chat have been adorable. Nelson is here. Welcome from Southeast Michigan. Happy to have you, Nelson. I know we've emailed back and forth a couple of times. Blue strip light along the skirting board. Yes, that's one of the changes, minor changes. So I originally had the Elgato strip lights there, and so every once in a while I upload my studio shot, this shot here, I upload to ChatGPT, who months ago helped me redesign the studio to get it to where it's at today. And every once in a while I'll just shoot a picture up to ChatGPT, going back to that chat and saying, what minor tweaks can I make? You know, I've had the studio like this for a while. What minor tweaks can I make? I don't want to go through a whole renovation, but give me some ideas on how to fine tune. So let me get to my Amazon account real quick, and I'll show you which ones I purchased. Okay, so here they are here. Let me go here, and let me go here. All right, so I purchased the Govee RGBIC LED strip lights. It's almost a 10-foot strip, and it comes with the cob style covers, which I really like, because as you can see in here, let me move my arm, you no longer see the individual dot LED lights that look like Christmas tree dots. Now it's just the one long pattern. In fact, this is the box right here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with the covers. So this is the track that goes on the wall. The strip lights, the actual LED lights, go in here, and they come with little clips to hold them in place, which is really cool. And then this is the diffuser cover that snaps into the track, that gives you, instead of seeing all the individual dots, it gives you that one long continuous illumination of light. So I'm very happy with those. And these are them again on screen. It says the thing for me is they work with smart assistants, although I managed to do a little research this week and got them working with Home Assistant. We could talk a little bit more about that a little later on in the stream, because the Elgato strip lights that I had over there, I was able to control them from my phone to turn them on and off. But once I installed the not only from the Home Assistant app, but I was able to control them on and off from the Apple HomeKit app as well. And once I installed the Govee, I didn't see that Home Assistant pick them up automatically. So I did a quick search and found that there was a Govee to MQTT integration for Home Assistant. So I got that set up. And like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about Home Assistant and that in a bit. But for now, let's go back to the comments. So that's one of the improvements is that strip light replacement down there. There's a couple of others. One's a little bit more obvious than the others. Let me see. I'm going to look up in my composition. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more minor tweaks. Then 6 more does not include the strip, so that would be number 7. So as we go through the stream, if you think you can pick out another of the 6 more remaining, I'd be happy to go over it with you. Again, they're simple tweaks. They're not major revisions. It's just to fine-tune the studio. Tim says, I always remember that 24 is 75 of the conversion and 28 is 82. Then guess the other temps. Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. I might be able to remember even that, Tim. New different glasses, or has it just been a minute? Oh, well, yeah, if you want to include the renovations to me, then yeah, then there's 6, 7 total with the strip light 8. Yeah, I ended up getting new glasses. Interesting story with the glasses. I had busted the rim, or not the rim, but the arm on the other set of glasses, and I thought I was fixing them by super gluing them, but then I couldn't close them. But at least it prevented the arm from falling off, because the arm was falling off constantly. So even though I couldn't close them, I was able to continue to use the glasses, and it was fortunate that I was upcoming to my annual eye doctor appointment, and obviously needed a new prescription anyway. So my wife suggested, instead of going with the metal frames, go with the plastic molded frames and get something a little larger for your face. And it worked out really, really well, because the larger frame allowed me to get a larger lens, and the larger lens, I have progressives, so they go from distance down to mid-range is computer, and then down at the bottom is reading. And with the larger lens, there's less, I don't know if you're familiar with progressives, but my other glasses in the smaller lenses, right in the area close to the bridge of my nose, was kind of out of focus for me at times. So this helps with that, having the larger lens area. I did get the non-reflective, so hopefully you're not seeing my lights too badly in them. And I did get the transition as well, meaning when I go outside and the sunlight hits them, they transition darker and basically become sunglasses. So that's really cool. But the neat thing about it was, there's a company called, and I don't know if they are just local to North Carolina or if they're nationwide. But this company here, Warby Parker, what a deal. You take your prescription to Warby Parker, and you can actually, they have an online store. So even if they are only local to North Carolina, you can order online and have them shipped anywhere. And the reason I'm bringing them up is my eye doctor, which happens to be called My Eye Doctor. That's the name of the franchise. They wanted $1,000 for my new prescription, my new lenses, my new frames, with all of the better quality progressive lens, the transition, the non-reflective glare, all that UV protection. And my daughter suggested I go to Warby Parker, and there happens to be a brick and mortar store in one of the malls in Wilmington, near where we live. So all you do is go there, and I didn't happen to have my prescription with me the day I went there, but for $500, I got these. As opposed to $1,000. So I saved 50%. And again, like I said, I don't know if Warby Parker is just local as far as brick and mortar stores to the area, but you can shop online, and they're great. I love them, and they ship right to the house. And how it worked for me that day was when they took the whole order in the store. We picked out the frames, yada, 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 but I didn't have my prescription. So all you do is go onto their website or mobile in your account, and you upload your prescription from your doctor, and they take it from there. So worked out really, really well, and I saved 50% of the cost. So yes, Jeremy, sorry for the long tooth explanation, but I did want to talk about Warby Parker and the huge discount in the purchase, because I know many of you out there wear glasses, so why not share? In fact, let me put the link in the chat. It's not an affiliate link. It's my first time dealing with them, so it's not doing it for any benefit to myself. But there you go, warbyparker.com. DJ Ware, Cyber Gizmo is in the house. Welcome, DJ Ware. Jack Squat is back. Missed you, Tony. Hope you had a nice 250th. I'm having Grand Stream withdrawal. Anybody else? I don't have any too much I don't have any Grand Stream stuff to talk about today. It's been kind of quiet. I do want to get back to focusing in a little bit more on the Grand Stream GWN 7062M. I want to focus in more on some of the specific features. So I will get back to that. I got sidetracked by the TerraMaster F4 425 Pro that was sent to me. And I started to prepare to do a video or videos on that device, but then I ran into a snag with that, so we could talk about that in a bit too. So I've kind of tabled the Grand Stream stuff for a bit. In fact, I haven't put out a video in 2 weeks, so it's not just that I got sidetracked with TerraMaster. Honestly, I got sidetracked with 3D printing. I'm just having way too much fun, and I'm being a sponge and just absorbing all kinds of knowledge, which, if you allow me to, I'd like to share some of that with you today as well. So, but Jack, I'm glad to have you back. And by the way, you sent me something, and I appreciated that. And I meant to respond to your email regarding what you sent me. So I appreciated that. I just, again, never got around to it. I see a graveyard of retired Ubiquiti equipment. Okay, well, that's always been there. However, I modified it slightly. I removed from, again, minor tweak, and that is one of the 6 remaining. I did remove the Grand Stream GWN 7803 switch, the 24 port switch. I had it up there, so it kind of went silver, silver, black, silver. But one of the tweaks that ChatGPT recommended was to, so the whole idea was to make the studio feel like, hey, this is a guy who's serious about what he's doing. And I don't have to emphasize the fact. So like the retired gear up top there tells you that I'm into home lab and home networking. I'll give you one of the other tweaks as well. I move the rack 3 or 4 inches more into view than it was. So between the combination of seeing the rack more and seeing the network gear up top, kind of tells the story of this guy is the real deal. So, and again, Not that I'm trying to be the real deal. I am me. I am who I am. But that was like ChatGPT's analysis of looking at the studio composition as a whole. So, but very good, Jack. Thank you for pointing that out. So that's two. There's, and I told you a third, which was the minor movement of the rack. So there's a couple more. I'm trying to think what they are myself. Okay. I don't think you guys are going to see the remaining. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 4 more. Jack says, we've been getting our glasses from Costco for 15 years or more. Well, that was the next step. You know, my wife was like, "What?" Because we have a Costco account. So she's like, "Why don't you go there? Because, you know, the more we purchase there, the more we get back towards our membership annually." So I said, "Well, I want to try Warby Parker first. And if I don't find any success there, then we can go check out Costco." So that was actually the contingency, but 50% discount or 50% savings. I was like, yeah, done. It's a no-brainer. Let's do it. So, and obviously, if you've been there for 15 years getting your glasses from there, you're obviously happy. So I guess they do a good job, which is great to know. Mr. BB, the dog father. Welcome. I'm a bit disappointed in the GCC 6011 and the lack of switch integration of all but a select group of switches. I think that kind of holds true with the entire GCC convergence series. I felt the same way about the GCC 6010 when I had the GCC 6010, and even the GCC 6020. It seems that the switch integration it takes longer. They eventually get there. They don't have them all, but periodically Grandstream does update and add more to the convergence series. But I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you on that. Mr. Tim Tech says the shelf below the GWN 7062M has something new. The device with colored lights. Okay, so that guy right there, no, that's been there, Tim. That's been that's the door station, the GWN 3725, I believe it is. That's the one I did the series on. That's always been there. But you're close. I'll give you a hint. There is another minor tweak on that shelf. The mic arm's not new. It's the same one. I see a couple of devices with multiple colors, but I don't know what they are. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but let's see. Let me just check the poll real quick and see how the poll is doing. So we got 11 votes. We got 12 people here. Should I bring back the weekly polls now or in the fall? So 36% of you say bring them back now, 64% of you say bring them back in the fall, and 0% of you say don't bring them back at all. Well, that's a good thing. So it looks like right now we're leaning towards the fall. It's changing. The votes, we just got 2 more votes. It's evening out a little bit more, 46 to 54%. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We got 8 likes and 12 people here. Appreciate you all. Thanks for hitting that like button. All right. Tim says, yes, the door station. All right. I don't want to belabor the other minor tweaks because they really are minor. But I'll tell you what they are. So probably the most obvious is the blue lighting halo behind the orange rock lamp. I added another aperture MC light back there to kind of bring a little bit more life to that area. So that's probably the other main addition. And then of course, ChatGPT was like, well, now that you've brought for you, it's the right side. For me, it's the left side of the composition. Now that you've brought it more to light with better lighting there, you need to up the lighting of, I have an aperture, one of those tiny aperture MC lights on the floor. Just up the intensity just slightly to kind of blend in everything behind you, and increase the hair light to give you better separation now from everything going on behind you. So those are the main tweaks. The two minor tweaks, which I didn't think anybody would really notice, is the light is moved closer to me, further away from the curtain, so it doesn't put such a massive halo on the curtain. Let me show you. So again, that was a ChatGPT suggestion. And the other one, super minor, is the Stream Deck in view on the desk instead of out of view. For me, I like for you guys to see a clean desk area, but ChatGPT was saying put the Stream Deck in view for whatever reason. So I figured I'd try it. So that's all the tweaks. So we got the upgraded Govee light strip. We have the additional aperture MC light. We removed the Grand Stream switch and just left the silver switches up top. I angled them a little bit more towards the camera. We have the minor tweak here of the Stream Deck. We have the minor tweak of intensifying the lighting back here a little bit. We have the minor tweak of moving the lamp away from the curtains so it's not so intense on the curtains. And we have the minor tweak of moving the rack slightly a few more inches in view. And of course, like Jeremy said, the improvement or new glasses. So those are all the minor tweaks and improvements to the studio. I hope you like them. It's always fun to not reinvent, but to just change things up a bit so I don't get bored and so that you don't get bored. All right. Do I have a link for the aperture lights? I absolutely do. You'll probably just have to convert it. It's a US Amazon link. You'll just have to convert it. Obviously, look for them in the UK store. But yeah, sure. Let me give you that. Why are you making me sign? I was just in there. Okay, here we go. The aperture lights. Here we go. This, full disclosure, this is an affiliate link, but I honestly don't know if you transfer over to the UK store, how that works. So, but regardless, it should get, I'm not worried about the affiliate aspect of things as much as I am you getting and finding the lights. There you go, Tim. I was thinking of getting a GCC 6011 for my lab. Can anyone explain in more detail what the problem is with that? That might be helpful. There is no problem. It's just, so GrandStream has quite the array of switches. Let me get to their website. Anyone else who's out there that uses GramStream, feel free to chime in if you'd like. But so basically, let's go to networking. Let's get rid of that. Let's go to networking. Let's go to switches. So you have the full family of switches here. The layer 2 light, the layer 2 managed, the layer 3 managed, the unmanaged switches, obviously, which don't apply here, and the aggregation switches. So in the GCC, now again, it all depends on whether you're using the GCC locally or with GDMS. I find the issue to be more with GDMS integrating the switches at a later point in time or at a slower rate. But even with locally, there are only certain. So I'm trying to explain this here. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking. Best way would be to go into my actual GCC 6020. I can give you a visual. I know I'm more of a visual learner myself. So let's get signed in. What's going on? Oh, I know why. Hold on 1 second. Yep. Let's reload. There we go. All right. All right. So if we come over to the tab here, if we come over to the switch management section and click on switches, you can see I have the GCC 6020 managing right now the current 3 switches that I have online, the 7802, the 7816P, and the 7822P. But if I wanted to add another switch right up here in blue, and I'm going to make this larger for you. Hopefully you could see that a little. The following switches can be managed. If a device version is too low, it recommends that you upgrade the firmware first. But here is the list of switches that can be managed by the GCC. So there's a lot of them, but not all of them that I showed you on the previous page. So if we go over to here, it's not those switches in blue that can be managed by the GCC series does not include all of the switches here. So I think that's the easiest way to put it, Jack. It's not that there's a problem with it because it manages the ones it does manage, it manages fairly well. I think the thing is whether or not the switches that it does manage are switches that will meet your needs. So that would be something for you to check out. And if you want, I can later on after the stream email you the list of those switches that I showed you here. Let me just switch to here. I could copy this down and just email you a list of these switches here so that you can check what's available against what's available overall. So I'd be happy to do that for you. No issues whatsoever. I hope that makes sense. Alonzo, welcome. Happy to have you. Here's the link to the aperture lights. We do have a poll going today, Alonzo, if you would like to weigh in on the poll. We have 16 people here. Yay. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. 9 likes. Please go ahead and smash the like button. You're welcome, Tim. I keep getting ad pop-ups. Is that supposed to happen? Not if you're running something like AdGuard Home or what's the other one? The more popular one. I've done videos on it. I can't think of it. Someone in the chat. I'm drawing a brain fart here. Piehole. There you go. Mr. BB, the dog father, says the following switches can be managed if a device version is too low. Oh, there you go. He put a bunch of them in the chat. I don't think that's all of them though, but um, they've added quite a bit since this list that you have here. It's a great product minus the switch support, which comes eventually. Right, exactly. Just as not as fast as some might need. Right on, 100%. And yes, I will email you that list because thanks, Mr. BB, the dog father, but that's not all of them. That's just a few of them. So absolutely, Jack, I will do that for you later today. Okay. All right, so we got through the chat. We talked about everything going on in the studio, which actually was not on my agenda. So, hey, what the hell? All right. So a couple of weeks ago, I showed you, and I don't have it with me, I showed you, if you were here 2 weeks ago, a program called Tracefinity. Tracefinity built custom molded bins for the Gridfinity grids. And I showed you the custom molded bin that I created in Gridfinity to hold this pocket knife right here. Did I say Gridfinity? In Tracefinity. I showed you the bin that I created in Tracefinity that I'm running locally. Hopefully it'll pop up here. Let's see. Should be running. Yeah, here it is. So if you weren't here 2 weeks ago, I don't have the bin with me, but just to refresh your memory. So I have this running locally in Proxmox as a VM. It's Docker running within a VM. And actually, I've created a bunch of bins. You can see them all listed here. But the one that I was talking about was this bin right here. That's for this utility knife. And so if you weren't here 2 weeks ago, the concept is you take a picture of the tool on a white background, then you upload it here to Tracefinity, and then Tracefinity takes you into these screens here, and then you can modify all your settings here. I added finger holds, so you could see there's finger holds in there that I could easily grab the tool. I probably could have made the finger holes a little smaller, but hey, what the hell. So that's Tracefinity. Then and since I mentioned Gridfinity, if you look at the bottom of this object here, this bin, you can see that there's grids or grid outline. Those are 42 millimeter rounded squares. So these bins sit inside of a grid which you create in Gridfinity. So I started to play with Gridfinity the week since the last live stream that I showed you. And in Gridfinity, you make the grids to fit the bins that you create. Now, Gridfinity at gridfinity.com, I believe, has their own grid builder, and you would think, well, why not use Gridfinity's? Because there are a bunch of various Gridfinity offshoots, and I happen to like this one by Perplexing Labs the best. And this is the default grid, but you can come in here and you can change all of the parameters. So you could put in your 3D printer's build plate. I'll just leave it 250 for 220 by now. Mine's 256 by 256. But then you can modify your grid here. So if I want the grid width to be 200, you'll see it'll update, or it should update. And if I want the grid length to be 100, let's see what's happening here. Is it not? Let me reset to default. Hold on, it's not working. Let's try this again. 256. That's crazy because this is how I built all my grids. 256. All right, grid width. So let's go to grid width. Let's make it 150. Oh, it's not working. I do apologize. Reset on render. Let me take that off so it resets automatically. I was doing it on my laptop before, and when I created them all, and I guess I did not have that checked. So, all right, so there it modified that. Let's make this 150. It shouldn't have to render every time. I'm not sure why. But anyway, you could see the concept is you can custom make your grids. Now you could see here I have 42-inch squares, and that's based on these numbers here. And then I have half grids here in columns and rows. And if I don't want half grids, I can turn those off, and that should happen automatically, but let me render that. And then you can see what it does here. It actually fills in the space with solid material. So you can go on to create as many different configurations of bins that you want to hold your, as many you can configure your grid to be pretty much anything you want to hold the bins. So I'll give you a better example. So here's how I used it. Now this is not something I'm proud of, but this right here is my vanity drawer, or was my vanity drawer in my bathroom. And you can see everything is just a mess all over the place. And when I'm looking for things like small scissors and things to trim my beard, like the small scissors, I'm digging through a mess to find everything. So I ended up saying Gridfinity and Tracefinity could solve these issues. So now I have this, and so I went from this on the right to this on the left, and you can see I did a couple of different things. I used the Gridfinity to build the grid for the draw using a millimeter ruler. I created, for the comb and for the deodorant, I created the molded bins in Tracefinity, which you could see I have the little finger cut out at the bottom of the comb area there, and then the finger cut out here by the deodorant. And then I created, so those were Tracefinity bins, and then I just created regular bins on the Gridfinity website, which I'll show you that in a second, just to hold other objects. So here's a single bin holding my razor. Here's a single bin with different compartments holding all a bunch of different stuff. Same thing here. Here's a skinny bin that I created for just holding all of the dental floss and things like that. So just to show you what you can do with these simple tools with something like a grid creator or a grid generator and a bin generator. But you could also go to Gridfinity, and this is how I created the individual bins, and you can see the bottom has the boxes, the individual bins with the dividers. So again, you could resize. I could say here I want 3 X units, and I want 4 Y units, and you can see the box or the bin is resizing. And what I mean by X and Y is here are the 4 Y units, and here are the X units. I guess it all depends on how you spin it and look at it, but okay, X 3 of them, Y 4 of them, and then height, for the height it's the Z units. So I can make it, if I increase this, I can make the bin taller. So we'll leave it at 3 for now. And then you can do different things here, like rounding corners, adding magnets if you want, but then you can also add things like walls. And then you can click on the wall and you can move it around, drag it around. You can use the blue arrow to resize the wall. You can use the red arrows to move the entire wall. You can do things. You can add, where is it? Let's go back to here. You can add a ledge. So we can take the ledge. Let me spin this way. We can take the ledge and you can move the ledge over here like this. You can add a scoop. So let's do this. Let's grab the scoop. You can bring the scoop over here and let me flip it like that. And then let me move it. I don't know why you would do something like that, but you can have like an area where you could drop something in and have it sit under a ledge. I don't know, but these are the kinds of things you can do with Gridfinity Box Creator and Perplexing Labs Grid Creator and Tracefinity's Molded Bin Creator. That's a mouthful. Now, for those of you who are not interested in creating Gridfinity based objects, but just would still like to have bins, there's a program, free program. By the way, all of this stuff I'm showing you is free. There's a free program called bento3d.design. That's the actual website. And let me just make sure I have audio. Hold on one second. Check. Yep. Okay. So with bento3d.design, you can build, it's an even easier interface to build your bins. Now, the thing that varies with this over what I just showed you is it's not compatible with Gridfinity. In other words, it does not have the framed out 42 millimeter boxes on the bottom. These, if you just want to build custom flat bottom bins, so you can make your depth. Oh, too much. You can make your depth. You can make your width. You can make your height. It's 20. Let's make it 40. And then I believe you can come up to here and click on grid. It's not making a Gridfinity grid, but what it's going to do is allow you to add walls. So you can add as many walls as you'd like. You can add columns. You can add walls in the column. You could add another wall. You could add, or another column. You could add another wall. So there you go. In a matter of minutes, I just put together a bin of an interesting configuration. So, and then obviously you can download that. So that's free as well. Okay. So to sum it all up, Gridfinity creates molded bins for tools. What did I say? Gridfinity? I'm getting confused. Tracefinity creates molded bins for tools. Gridfinity creates, or Perplexing Labs version of Gridfinity creates the grids that those Tracefinity bins sit in, and also the Gridfinity bins. And then you have Bento 3D, that design that just creates custom bins, but flat bottom. So, and everything I'm showing you can be printed on 3D printer. Whew. Okay. That's that. Pi-hole will not block YouTube ads. Hey, Terry, welcome. Yes, correct. And Keith, welcome. I don't know if you just joined, Keith, or not, but I just went through a whole thing with Tracefinity, Gridfinity, and Bento 3D.design. So I know that kind of stuff interests you. So if you just checked in, go back and check that out later. Okay, so that's that. Seem to be caught up with the comments. We still got 15 people here. So I want to thank Tim from the Mr. Tim Tech YouTube channel. He, out of nowhere, asked me for my address, one chat, and put something in the mail for me, but never told me what it was. So it took a while to get here, crossing the pond. But let me see if I can get this camera to work, and I'll take you over there and show you what I got. And I'll also want to show you something else too while I'm there as well. So let me see if I can get this to work. Let me get this off the screen. Let's go to let's see, Kiloview. All right, let me see if this works. Let's come here. Let's come here. It may work, it may not work. I don't know. We're going to try it. We're going to say, we're going to put this in here, and we're going to turn this on, and we're going to see if I get a picture. It says it's on air, so that's a good thing. It says it's on air, but there we go. All right, so let me switch cameras and switch microphones. So check 1, 2, you should hear me okay. So I'm going to walk you across the room, and like I say every week, I don't want to make you sick, so I'm going to take my time. Need to turn the light on in the server room. There we go. Okay, so real quick, Tim sent me this GMK Tech G3 model mini PC. Like I said, that was a complete surprise to me. He had a little note in there, or text me, I don't remember, said something about great for Home Assistant. It's exactly what he uses for Home Assistant. He knew I was running Home Assistant on virtual machine in Proxmox. So this showed up one day, and I migrated over real quick, doing a backup and restore. Worked like a charm. So now I have Home Assistant running on bare metal, which seems to be much faster response time. My things are responding quicker in the mobile apps, so I'm very, very happy about that. So Tim, thank you very much. And the other good thing about it is I had my other GMK Tech i9, or this is the K10 with the i9 processor. This was just sitting randomly up here. I was very lazy about racking it, but when Tim sent this, now I had a reason to use the extra shelf, because now I have 2 mini PCs that I added to the rack. So again, I guess everything works out for a reason. Now I have these 2 cables coming out of here from the 7822P down there, and they're going out right now in a temporary situation here to this TerraMaster, which I have set up in a lag because I was preparing to do, like I said, some content on the actual TerraMaster. But then I ran into a snag with getting the OpenClaw AI working. So I have an actual remote session scheduled with TerraMaster on Monday evening. check 1 2 back on the studio mic. So let me just shut this off. Okay, that's off. We'll go back here and go back here. All right, so I have a session created with them to help me troubleshoot the issue I'm having with OpenClaw. I could take you there. I could show you real quick, I think. Let's see, do I have it here? All right, let's get signed in. All right. No, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Yes, that's what I want. Okay. So, yeah, I was preparing. Here's the desktop to the TerraMaster OS. And there's got to be a way to clear this. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. And there we go. So I was preparing. That's why I had set up the lag between the TerraMaster and the GWN 7822P so I can maximize. It has two 5 gigabit ports on the back of it, but the 7822 only has 2.5 gig ports, well, 1 gig ports and 2.5 gig ports in RJ45. So I figured, well, I can't get the full 10 out of the TerraMaster, but at least, and if I only used one port, a 5 gig port on the TerraMaster, I would only get max 2.5. So I figured, let me lag them together, and at least I can get at least one, 5 gig going. So, and it is connected at 5 gig. If I take you into the settings here, let's go into the network interface, and right here you can see the bandwidth says 5,000 megabits per second. So the lag is working. So I was preparing for doing speed tests, large file transfers, things like that. What else did I want to test out? I wanted to test out the OpenAI OpenClaw. So I set it up. I have it enabled. I just need to get into it. Where is it? I had it here. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So OpenAI, OpenClaw dashboard. And, well, actually, let me go back. I want to take you back for a second real quick. Let's go here. Sorry about that. Configure large language model. So once you install OpenAI Claw, you have to install a language model, and there's a bunch to choose from. So I installed OpenAI. You have to create a token, which I created, and you have to purchase. I bought $10 worth of tokens to. You have to create an API, not a token. You have to create an API, and then you have to purchase tokens. So I got the model installed. And then when I tried to do something, now watch it work. It shouldn't work, but watch it work. I just wrote, what are you capable of? Or let's just write, what can you do? And it should return an error. Yeah, agent failed before reply, LLM request failed, provider rejected the request scheme or tool payload. Now that's a new error. The original error, if you look over to the right side here, agents.md, sol.md, all these files, It did not have the memory.md file, this last one that was here. So the original message said, cannot load or find the memory.md file. So ended up creating the memory.md file from, well, at that point, honestly, I quit. At that point, I was like, screw it. Let me write to them and see what they say. In the meantime, I shared what I was going through with Tim, and Tim comes up with an article to send me. Says, here, this might be of help. So he sends me this article. I had a SSH in. And it helped me create the memory.md file. And I was like, cool. Everything went well with the creation. I come back in, I load it up, and now it's showing the memory.md file here, but it's failing now with this message. And I figured this is beyond my pay grade. You know, they want me to do a video on this, so let's get some help from them. So that's what's happening on Monday. Unfortunately, I don't know where they're located, but for me, it's happening at 10 o'clock p.m. in the evening, because that's when they're available. So, but anyway, let's figure it out and see what's going on. All right, so that's what's going on with the TerraMaster and with the Home Assistant. And again, thank you, Tim, for sending that wonderful gift. Been watching for a little bit, Keith says. Cool. Thank you. When are you launching the QuickTech Solutions 3D printing service? I'd rather order from you than from China. You know, it's funny, Jeremy, the thought crossed my mind, but you know what? We went to, back in June, we went to something called a blueberry festival, which is huge. Azalea festivals, blueberry festivals, cotton festivals, rice festivals. Those are all oyster festivals, shrimp festivals down in North Carolina. All that shit goes, right? So we went to the blueberry festival back in June, and blocks and blocks of vendors, blocks and blocks of entertainers and bands and DJs, blocks and blocks of food vendors, craft vendors, things for the kids to do. It's just like a multiple day event. And the thought occurred to me, like, yeah, maybe I could just like open an eBay store or an Etsy store and start creating some things, you know? And then I walked around that blueberry festival, and there had to be at least 10 stands of people selling 3D printed stuff. And what I was observing that day was it really wasn't selling. Now, I don't know whether or not that was the target audience for it or not, but there were more stands with more 3D tchotchke items. And the thing was, they were all the same. So if I can come up with a niche type item or two or three, like that one guy who created that I showed on this channel, the 3D printer adapters for mounting the UAP AC light to a 1-gang box. To me, that was genius at the time, because that was a problem I had, and his solution solved it, and it was a wonderful solution. So it's just funny that you asked that. I have been toying around with creating stuff, which could be a good segue now, I guess. But let me get through the rest of the comments. Terrell says, I agree. And thank you again, Tim. Jack saying hello to Keith. Nelson says, great convo. Have to jump off. Floor shopping with the bride. Have a great weekend all. Thanks for popping in, Nelson. Are you specifically talking about blocking YouTube ads? You would need to upgrade to YouTube Premium. Well, that, yeah, I just, when he said I'm getting ads, I just thought he meant, you know, browser-based pop-ups. I'm on the phone with, and the YouTube ads are incessant. That's YouTube trying to irritate us so much that we're willing to upgrade their paid service. Yeah, I guess the thing that threw me off was he said pop-ups. So, and I thought like pop-up browser window. Um, what I've seen, those 3D printer tables at flea markets are just um, Thinkiverse items. Yep. Yep. So, all right. So that segues me into something else I wanted to show you. So I printed this morning, and I've been playing around with designing it all week. So let me get this out of the way for a second. Switch cameras. Let me put this here. Okay. So what this is a two-piece tabletop Venmo stand with an NFC chip sunken inside of it. You see two piece. I created the base. There's a slot in the base with a 5-degree angle on it to allow the actual top piece to sit in at a little bit of an angle. And yes, there is an NFC sticker that I programmed inside of it. So this piece right here. This piece is 5 millimeters thick. So right in the middle, somewhere 2.5 millimeters, there's a socket, and that contains the NFC sticker. So you get the NFC stickers on Amazon. They're cheap. Let me show you which ones I have. Come on, why are you doing this? There. So I have these. You get 60 of them on a peelable roll I paid like $8.99. Now they said they're currently unavailable, but if you search Amazon for NFC stickers, I mean, they normally come in 50. So let's see, 50 NFC stickers. There you go. 100 pieces for $19. 50 pieces for $7. There's all different brands. So I just happened to stumble on one brand that I purchased. So it's really wild because, so why did I build a Venmo 3D printing stand? I don't use Venmo for my business, although I've been asked by my customers. So the idea is, and I did design this all by myself. I mean, I did look at some models on Maker World that inspired me, but I actually did create this whole thing by myself. I did all the curved corners by myself, the dimensions. I raised up the white print, the 5-degree angle, everything that you see here. I did not download a model. I just created. And the neat thing about it is I just hold my phone up to it, and it says, I got a little banner up top that says Venmo NFC tag, open in Venmo. And it takes me right to, this is my son-in-law's page. If I want to pay or request money from him. So why my son-in-law? So my son-in-law is a school teacher, but to supplement his school teacher salary, he bartends in a wedding venue on Friday, Saturdays, and sometimes Sundays. And some people tip by cash, but cash is becoming less and less of a thing, especially with the younger generation, with Apple Pay and all this stuff, Venmo and Cash App. So he's got a acrylic stand with a QR code that contains his Venmo account. So if people want to tip him, they just scan the QR code and they could tip him via Venmo. So I thought, wow, this would be cool. So I created that. So now besides the QR code, he could put the NFC stand out and people could just tap the stand and send him a tip via Venmo at the wedding while he's bartending. So thought that was pretty cool. And it was a fun project to learn how to do. In fact, if I can, I want to show you the behind the scenes. Let's go here. Personal accounts. Sign in. Why is it signing me out of everything? Here we go. By the way, I hope I have audio. Hold on one sec. Check. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right. Where'd it go? There we go. Okay, so if we go into here, all right, so here it is. And if I click on this object here and make it transparent for a second, you can see inside, or if I flip it to the back, you see this little round disc right here? That's the cutout for where I placed the sticker. And you're probably wondering, like, well, that's fine. And I don't know if you could see it there. You probably can't see it there, even if I explode the view. But I know you can see the outline of the circle there. Now, how do you're probably asking how you do that. It's super simple. You just basically take a square. I'm going to make that square, let's say 5 millimeters. I'm going to raise it, make it a little bit bigger. So I began this piece here with a simple square. And because I stretched it proportionately, it also raised the z-axis for me. Okay, so you start with that. Then you take a circle which is clear, transparent, and I'm going to make that 0.5. And then I'm going to make it 25 millimeters in proportion, because the tags that you buy are about 22 millimeters. And then you place one on top of the other. Now you can't see it anymore, but you can see the outline. But if I select the box and I make it transparent, you can see it in there. But we're not done yet, because it's not a cutout until, let me go back to making this whole. It's not a cutout until I group the whole thing. So I drag over both of them and I say union group. Now, when I union group it, it makes it one. And now, instead of seeing the second object inside, now you can see that it cut out inside of that square. It cut out the 0.5 millimeter high socket where the actual sticker, NFC sticker, goes. And then right now it's sitting along the bottom. It's like right on the bottom of the square. So I could take that if I wanted to sit midway up, which I did, and I did do that with the actual model. If I just go to the align tool and I should be able to, there we go, and go to the align. Why is not the align tool? Oh wait, because I already unioned it. Hold on, let me make this transparent. Now if I go to the align tool, all right, I could say align center and align center, but now if I bring it up this way and I say align, now if I do this right here, this middle dot that I turned red there, it'll raise it up to the middle. I don't know if you saw that, but now you can see it's like floating in there. Then once you have it aligned floating, that's when you select all and union group it. And then you have your cutout. So that's the process. And the interesting thing on, so I was like, all right, cool. So that's how you create the hole within a solid object to place the sticker. But like, then how do you get it in there? In the actual print inside the filament? So I have this. I recorded this morning with my cell phone for you because I thought it was pretty cool. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this stuff with you. I'm just having such a good time with it. All right, so this is the print, partially printed. So in the slicer, once you create it in Tinkercad, you export it as either an STL or an object, depending on your needs. I exported it as an object file. And then in the slicer, you tell it to slice the file. But then at a certain point, you tell it to pause. So you insert a pause so that when the printer starts printing, and this is all new to me. I learned this all this week. When the printer starts printing, it'll pause at a certain spot. So where did I want to pause it? I wanted to pause it where the circle was visible for me to then place the sticker inside. So it paused. So that's a shot of the printer paused. And then you'll see here, once I play the video, it'll transition over to the sticker being in place. Now I have the sticker in there, and then you tell it to resume printing, and now it's printing the first layer over the sticker, and then it eventually covers it with another layer. So now you'll see when this is done, it'll have a layer of 2 layers over it, and then when the print finally continues, on the actual finished project, once the entire thing's been printed, then it puts all the top layers and everything on, and now you have that NFC sticker inside, and it works. And the nice thing about it is the programming is easy. There's an app called NFC Tools, which is available for Android or iOS, and it allows you to read, write NFC tags. And I wrote that with my son-in-law's Venmo information on it. You can leave it locked or unlocked. So if I lock it, it can't be rewritten, but I left it unlocked. Yeah, it's really cool. So I'm trying to think of other things I can do with this. I didn't need 60 stickers, but for $8, it was a great deal. So yeah, NFC Tools available in the iOS store and the Google Play store if you're interested. So works really, really well. So thank you for indulging me on that. Let's go back to the comments. So, all right. Keith says, I would purchase a hyperdeck stand that would be expandable from the mini original to the wider mini HD Plus so that it tips up the front and is desk level at the back. I got you. So, I mean, I would have to break that. Like if I wanted to replace the actual sticker that's in this, I mean, I can't, right? I mean, it's 3D printed, but I save the model as a file on my computer and I can just put another sticker in it. Or because I didn't lock it, I could rewrite that sticker. So I happened to write the information to the NFC tag while the tag was in my hand, but just the way I could read it, I could also write to it using the NFC tool when it's already in here. So I could sell these generically with no programming in them and then program them on the spot for people. If somebody says, "Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, I use Venmo or I use Cash App or I use PayPal or what have you." So, but once that's it, once that sticker's in there, it's in there. There's no without destroying the model. So I hope that answers your question. So, okay. So that's that. I am looking for an outdoor humidity temperature sensor that's compatible with Home Assistant. It's got to be able to sustain the outdoor heat and climate in the area. So that's one thing. So if you know of any or somebody's using one, let me know. Please share. I would be happy to steal that information from you. The other thing, let's see. The other thing is I'm looking to get away from using. So I have the MyQ garage door openers, and I'm using the MyQ app, but I'd really like to get away from that and not be bound to the MyQ service. So I was looking for a couple of different options, and I found two. One is, let me find it. It's called RATGDO, RATGDO garage. I know. I'll put it on the screen as soon as I'll put it on the screen as soon as I find it. Let's see. Okay. So apparently this guy here, and I don't know too much about it. I just started doing my research on it. Apparently this guy here, there's 3 models. There's the RATGDO32 disc. There's just the plain RATGDO32. And then there's the encoder, which is something new. But apparently the way this works is it's a Wi-Fi control board that you wire up to your existing garage door terminals. And then it connects to your Wi-Fi, and then you have local control through Home Assistant to open and close your garage doors. So I was looking at these. The difference between the one on the top here and the one on the bottom is the one on the bottom comes with a laser, so that you know how people sometimes hang a tennis ball on a string, so that the tennis ball, once it touches their windshield, they know to stop so they don't get too close and bang the wall, which I've known people to do that. My sister, for one. So that's the difference here. I got to research this more. I'm really seriously thinking about it. The only question I have is, I like to open up the garage door when I'm a distance from my home. But now if I went with something like this, because it's Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi only, I'd have to literally wait until I'm in my driveway to be able to open the door. So that's where I'm pondering with that. And then the other thing I looked at was, and I think I found it on Amazon, the Third Reality. Now this is more of a mechanical solution. Third Reality garage door, but it was funny. It was kind of cool, actually. Instead of connecting something up to your garage door, this guy right here, and it's a little cheaper than the other thing that I just showed you, the RATGDO. What happens is, in this slot here, you put an actual physical garage door opener in. So Yeah, you see like the garage door opener sits inside. You put a sensor on the garage door so it can tell you whether the door is open or closed. And I don't know if you could see this here. Let me click on it. But the actual garage door opener is inside, and then in Home Assistant, you press to open or close it, and a little metal plunger comes down and presses the garage door button. So it's more of a mechanical thing, but hey, why not, you know? So those are the two items I'm doing a little bit more research and digging on. So let me know what you think about those two. And also, again, like I said, an outdoor humidity temperature setting that I could integrate with Home Assistant. And that's one of the reasons why Tim sent me the little mini PC. He's like, I see you're getting more and more into Home Assistant and more away from Apple HomeKit. He said, so I figured this would come in handy. So again, thank you, Tim. Morning, Jason. Welcome. What if a new sticker could snap in so that the logo was separate? I guess I could design, I haven't seen anybody design anything like that, but that's a great idea. So what if I made a snap-in cover that could be removed so that you could take the sticker out? Good thinking, Keith. Good thinking. What things? I'm not sure what you're talking about. The two that I just showed, the two garage door opener things do. Yes. I use a Govee wireless thermal humidity unit. Takes a AA battery, and I use it to monitor my garage temp for my servers. I will check that out because that Govee light strip that I just installed, I integrated into HomeKit. So I do have HomeKit control of turning it on and off. Let me see. Let me go into HomeKit here for a second. So that might be an option. Thank you for, I didn't even think of Govee, but I will look into that. So here, let me get into Home Assistant. And so if I bring this on the screen, I'll move out of the way. So right here where I'm moving the mouse on the screen is the LED light strip. So I should be able to power it off. And you can see behind me over there, it's off. And now it took a little delay on the screen to update, but now I could turn it on. It came right on, and then this will update in a second or two. There you go. So since I already have the Govee to MQTT integration in HomeKit, that might be a route to look at. So thank you for that for Jason. And thank you, Tim. Your video you released this week on how to add sidebar shortcuts to HomeKit came in extremely handy. And you helped me out with this. I followed your video initially, ran into a snag, but I realized what the snag was, and it was I did not change the host name to match the host name that's over here on the right side. So when you use the sample code in your video for whatever device that was that you added to the side, I forget, I kept getting the error saying the host, something was wrong with the host name. So I never thought to come in here and copy this host name. So thank you for clearing that up for me. So, but what I do want to say about this is, whereas Zigbee to MQTT in the sidebar shows you all of the plugs and switches that I have in place that I could control right from here. The only reason I wanted to put Govee in the sidebar was thinking it would show me my devices, not just my settings. So a little disappointed in that, but that's not you, Tim. You helped me achieve what I was trying to achieve. I'm just disappointed that I can't get to my settings here. And I don't know what Open Web UI, yeah. So I'm not sure what that is. But in any event, um, so good to know. And thank you, Jason, for that suggestion. Jason, Amazon Govee Wi-Fi digital thermometer hygrometer. Okay, cool. Thank you. $29. Oh, let me look that up because that's not expensive at all. Um, so back to Amazon. Still got solid 15 people here, so that's cool. I guess I'm not boring you. Let's see. Let's switch to here. Let's go to here. And Jason said it is. Can I copy that? Maybe. Let's see. Copy. Yes, I can copy it this way. I don't have to type it in. Paste. Govee Wi-Fi thermometer, hygrometer, indoor Bluetooth temperature humidity center. Okay, so it's indoor. Yeah, I want something for outdoors. $39 US. Is this the one, Jason, that you're referring to though? Let's see. Stay connected, stable Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Let's see. Temperature is accurate. I'm looking to see like what the environment. I mean, it does say indoors. I could put it under an overhang so it doesn't get wet or exposed to that part of the elements, but yeah, it doesn't say that it's outdoor. Let's see. My brain needs things like this to figure on. Govee, goodbye, Elgato. Well, Keith, that light strip down there that I have, you inspired me with your studio redesign plus ChatGPT you inspired me to submit a photo of my composition of the studio to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, first thing it picked out was the Elgato LED strips, saying that I need something more modern like this, not seeing all the little LED dots. So it was a combination. I just laughed when ChatGPT said that because you actually, all the work you're doing in your studio inspired me. In any event, so yeah, but that wasn't expensive. I know yours were pretty expensive. Let's see. I'll give you the price on that real quick. Maybe they were comparable. I don't remember, but I remember you saying it was pretty. The brand that you used were pretty expensive, but this right here, so it's 9.8 foot, so almost a 10-foot strip with the diffusing covers, $69. So it wasn't horrible. So you get a 16-foot strip for $76, and you can get a 32-foot strip for $119. So I didn't think pricing was too bad. And when I asked for a recommendation to ChatGPT for a replacement brand that will not flicker to the camera's eye in the camera, this is the one that the Govee RGBIC LED strip is what they recommended. So, or what it recommended. Okay. What is the size of your sign behind you, and who did you order it from? Great question. I can answer that. Hold on. It is 18 by 6, 18 wide, and I'm talking inches now, by 6 inches high. And I ordered it from, here's the link. Copy. Oh, what the heck is going on here? All of a sudden, I'm trying to chat and it's telling me sign into chat. Why? Something went wrong. All right. Keith, I will email you the link. For whatever reason, I cannot enter a message. I'll show you guys what I'm seeing. Here real quick. You can see the little monkey that says something went wrong. So, and I refreshed the page. So I will email you that. So I got to email Jack the switches that are compatible with the GCC series, and Keith, I will email you the link. It was an Etsy shop that I got that sign from. Okay. It's always good to enable Watchdog in the Govee MQTT app too. Okay, thanks, Tim. Good observation. I guess I did not have that enabled. Scroll down, not those. Oh, bummer. All right, I will go check your signal. You probably sent me a link. Thank you. Keith says, I have taken down my Elgato. Let me check signal while I'm talking. I have taken down my Elgato LED, but keeping my key lights and key light air, and have Cobb LEDs now. Yes, I know, and they are awesome. Okay, thank you for the link, Jason. I will check them out. Let me just take a quick look. Yeah, change store. Smart indoor humidity meter. Okay, so it's still indoor, but at least I'll go look for it. All right, thank you for that. Well, I kept one Elgato Lightstrip Pro. I still have the Elgato Lightstrip. It's sitting over there on my desk by the 3D printer. I don't know what to do with it. I was just thinking about bringing it downstairs in the room where my wife and I watch most of the TV and just attaching it to the back of the TV so it kind of puts an illumination on the wall behind the TV. So got to do something with it. So, all right. Okay, 15 likes. Yay. Let me share with you guys, if you're not sick of me yet, let me share with you another thing I've been working on, and then that'll probably be all for today. So, and yes, you've guessed it, it's a 3D thing that I'm creating in Tinkercad. But I think you'll like it. So, all right. Let me get it up on the screen. Tinker this. Let me bring it here. All right. Okay, so let me switch screens. This has been quite the project. It's been about, and again, it's probably because I'm new with building things and building 3D modeling and creating my stuff from scratch. But I wanted to create my logo to make a standing version of it to put up on the shelf behind me. Now I know I have the LED sign, but I wanted to create the actual logo itself. So what you're seeing here is a work in progress. So if I hide a couple of items, I'm going to hide the top layer. I'm going to hide that filler and that filler. And what I'm going to show you now, that's the back plate. That back plate is only 3.25 millimeters thick. And because my logo, so what I did to get this far was I took the original QuickTech Solutions logo from, let me bring it up on the screen. Hold on, from Photoshop. Let me see if I can get this over to you. So, come on. Oh, I see why. Hold on one second. I took the original QuickTech Solutions logo from, this is the actual PSD file, and I took each of the layers and I saved them individually as ping files. So I took the word quick and I saved it. I took the word tech and I saved it. I took the word solutions and I saved it. And then I turned off QuickTech Solutions so that the only thing showing on the screen was the cable. And then I highlighted that, saved and exported that out. So I had 4 ping files. Then from there, I converted those ping files to SVG files. And the reason I did that is so that I can bring them into Tinkercad. Now, what you'll notice is I had tried, well, you didn't know this, but I originally tried to create this cable with these ends here. And because these are all individual separate conductors, it was impossible to try to redesign in Tinkercad. So I decided to change. If I show everything again, I decided for the desktop version of the logo to change the ends to an RJ45 style connector. Not a big deal, but it works. So once I had all four pieces broken out to ping files, I converted them to SVG files so that I can bring them into Tinkercad and they would maintain the proportions, the style, everything. So that's what I started with. And because it's big, I can't print it all in one piece because my build area isn't large enough. So I have to print it in multiple pieces. But I needed something to keep all of the letters together because each of the letters were separate objects. So I designed that in Tinkercad, and then I came up with this as my first printed prototype. So there's the one half of the back plate, and there's the other half of the back plate, and it's very similar in size to the one on the wall. Very, very close. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, but you could see the supports connecting the letters. Yes, but hopefully, once I bring that back plate's only 3.25 inches in height. So once I bring the top layers, which are going to be 8 to 10, I'm not decided yet, but 8 to 10 inches, 8 to 10 millimeters in height. So if I turn this up, well, you really can't tell. It doesn't look much thicker, but this layer here, I have it at 8 millimeters, and the back layer, I have at 3.25 millimeters. My hope is that once it's on the shelf with the proper lighting, that the supports will be virtually invisible. Now, what I've been thinking about doing is, now that I actually have the prototype of the back plate printed out, I'm noticing that it's pretty strong. I could probably reduce these connecting supports and make them not as thick or not as visible and still get the job of holding it all together done. So this has been a fun project because it's not about printing. For me, it's been more of a design and how to engineer this project. So these 2 tabs at the bottom I added after I printed the prototype. These 2 black tabs at the bottom, they're going to sit. I'm going to design plates similar to, I'm going to design two bases similar to this one with a 5-degree angled slot. This is the base that I created for that Venmo stand. They'll be obviously larger than this because obviously the QuickTech backplate is bigger, but hopefully the concept in my brain is have the backplate and have the tab sit in the backplate, one for each, you know, have another base here. And so, and then sit that up on the shelf. And like I said, between the lighting and the thicker colored top layers, I'm hoping that virtually the connecting pieces on the backplate virtually disappear to the naked eye. So now you guys can kind of see why I haven't been in the studio recording videos, because I'm just getting obsessed more and more with stuff. And this whole 3D printing journey has become a learning journey as far as designing, modeling, and engineering. So thanks, Keith. I appreciate it. Is the sign going to be backlit? You mean the 3D one that I am creating? I never gave that any thought, but I was kind of, I'm going to probably remove that white router on that shelf and sit the sign up there, and with the hopes that the lighting that I added to the wall with the MC Aperture MC light puts enough of a glow on it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I haven't given thought to actually lighting the actual sign, but it is what it is. So, but I like that idea. Thank you. Bluey says, I love the little tweak to the cable design on the logo. Thank you. Yeah, I was having a hard time recreating all those little conductors, and theoretically, the person who designed the logo for me, I told him like kind of my ideas and come up. I mean, it's a great design. I love it. It's on all my clothing. It's on my business cards. It's everywhere. It's there. I mean, but that's not really an Ethernet cable. That's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought it had 9 conductors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it has 8 conductors. I must have erased one in Photoshop at some point in time, because the original file from the designer came with 9 conductors. But this was more like a copper cable, but it wasn't an Ethernet cable. So when I had trouble redesigning this exact logo in Tinkercad, I decided I'm not going to mess with it. Just for back here in the studio purposes, putting the RJ45 connector on it would be sufficient. And then when I'm done, when it's all said and done and printed, and I got to glue the top layers to the back plate, once it's all said and done, I could take a little fine artist paintbrush with some gold paint and put like the 8 copper conductors. I could just paint them on the tip of the RJ45 connector if I really wanted to get crazy. But to be honest with you, nobody would even see that detail back there. So I'm not really creative, Jack. I could basically draw a stick man. The reason why I've taken to Tinkercad so quickly and so easily is because it's really working with shapes, boxes and squares and rectangles. And well, that's pretty much all about I can draw with a paper and pencil. uh, that would be cool lit there. Yeah. I'm going to think more about that. But anyway, guys, I hope you don't mind me sharing my 3D printing journey with you. In fact, I had my first um, failure yesterday. I'll be right back. I don't know what I did with it, but I had this huge pile of spaghetti that I managed to see thanks to the built-in camera. I was able to stop the print at about 30%. It was the first print since I've owned the X2D to experience a failure. And I honestly don't know what caused it. Looking back at the model that I sent to the printer to print, I I kept getting an error in the Bamboo slicer program, and I said, screw it, I'm going to print it anyway. And lo and behold, I had a major failure. So, and then I saw the problem. I went back to Tinkercad, which was where the file originated from, fixed the problem, and then the next print printed fine. I wanted to show you the pile of spaghetti, but I can't seem to figure out what I did with it. I might have brought it down to the downstairs garbage and tossed it. I don't know. But in any event, I ended up having to do my first nozzle cleaning this morning because I couldn't use the printer. So I followed the video from Bamboo Labs and put on the heat gloves so that hot filament, after you heat up the nozzle, doesn't drip onto my hand and burn me. And lo and behold, after I did the nozzle unclogging, I was able to do the successful print for my son-in-law. So I'm really excited about being able to program the NFC tags. I'm a pet lover. Obviously, you can tell by the Chihuahua shirt. I was thinking about making in fact, I did make, I designed little dog tags. Where are they here? But I haven't printed one with an actual NFC tag in it, but it looks like this. Actually, it could be cat or dog. So you could see there's the ring, the cutout for the NFC tab, and it's exactly how I showed you before in the quick demonstration how I got it in there. You could see it's kind of floating just below the surface there. I like to raise the top layers up about 0.75 to 1 millimeter to give it like a real 3D feel when it's a flat object like this. So I haven't printed any. Well, I printed prototypes, but without the NFC tags. Now that I know that those NFC tags work, and I tested it on the Venmo stand for my son-in-law, I'm probably going to print out a couple for my dogs. So, and again, am I going to sell this stuff? Probably not, but I'm having a blast learning and creating. Love it. Thanks, Keith. I can't wait for you to start yours. I know it's not going to probably be this year, but what you're doing with your studio is absolutely amazing. So I have to look at the actual YouTube app as a viewer to see how the poll is doing, because as I showed you before, I am locked out. So let me look at the poll. We have 14 votes. Should I bring back the weekly polls now or in the fall? Bring them back now, bring them back in the fall. It's 50-50. It's a tie. Well, at least nobody voted for don't bring them back at all. So at least that tells me you enjoy them. Bring them back now, bring them back in the fall. I'll tell you what, maybe we'll compromise, since bringing them back now would bring them back right in July. And bringing them back in the fall to me means basically September. That's fall for me. So maybe we'll just split the difference, sort of, so to speak, and maybe I'll start them in August. So that gives us a couple of weeks of a reprieve in July, and then maybe I'll bring them back in August, and then we'll compromise since we have an equal 50-50. So, okay, well, let me look at my list here. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Switch account. I don't know why this happens. Let's see. Studio. Bear with me. Create. Go live. And drum roll. The chat is back. All right. Terrell says, after we get the wife's car fixed, I am looking at getting a 3D printer. Then I don't have to use my brother's. Awesome. I'm loving it. I'm not regretting it. As I showed you 2 weeks ago, I bought the second AMS. I bought the filament track switch. I bought the cabinet that stores the 40 rolls that David from PE for Doers suggested I get. It's functioning as the base, the stand for my printer, as well as the compartment in the bottom is dehumidified controlled. So I have it set to around 30% humidity. The AMSs right now, if I showed you that, I think the AMSs are in pretty good shape. They are, let's see if I open up here. Yeah. So if I switch here just for a second, right here, this is the first AMS and this is the second AMS. The main AMS is at 13% humidity with inside its chamber, and the second AMS is at 19. So those are good numbers for maintaining the filament. I'm tempted to try something that probably won't work, but so as of right now, I've purchased only Bamboo Labs filament because they come with a little NFC tag that the AMS devices read, and it automatically detects what color filament, what type of filament. Like here it says in slot 1 it's PLA white, in slot 2 it's PETG beige, in slot 3 it's PETG brown, PLA black, etc. And even here in the second AMS, it's PLA green, PLA red, PLA yellow. But here in slot 4, it's white, but it's not. It's the supplement PLA, so it's used to not supplement. It's the support PLA that's used with supports. So I need purple for printing the QuickTech sign that I'm creating, but I don't particularly like the shade of purple on Bamboo Labs. So Hobby Lobby sells their own filament. Well, it's made by L.L.C, I think, is what I determined by watching several videos of people who have reviewed the Hobby Lobby filament. Oh, and by the way, I remember TVJ 2 weeks ago saying I didn't know Hobby Lobby sold filament and 3D printing supplies. Well, guess what? Michael's does too, the hobby shop. And I've seen a couple of reviews on the Michael's filament, and it's getting good reviews, and as is the Hobby Lobby. So I had my wife pick up a roll of Hobby Lobby filament in purple PLA this morning, and I could use it with the X2D, but instead of it recognizing the filament, the color, and yada, 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 the type, I have to, once I load it into the AMS, I have to then go on the display and tell it what kind of, tell the printer what type of filament it is, that it's PLA, yada, yada, yada. So I was thinking, now that I have the NFC stickers and I have the NFC Tools app on my phone, maybe I'm going to attempt to scan one of the Bamboo Labs NFC tags and see what kind of information they have programmed on those tags. If I could duplicate, if I can go to their website, pull up their purple, get the information that's needed from their purple, and scan and create my own NFC tag, and then put it on the Hobby Lobby roll, it'll still be Hobby Lobby filament, but I don't have to go through. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it'll work so that the AMS can detect it automatically, thinking it's Bamboo Labs filament. So we'll see. I'll let you know how that works out next week. All right. Last look at the comments. Let me close the poll now that I have the chat back. So we have 14 votes. It's 50-50 split. So I guess we'll bring the, we'll compromise and we'll bring the weekly polls back. I say weekly, but it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's 3 a week. We'll bring that schedule back starting in August. So thank you guys for weighing in. Help me reach a decision. So there's the end of the poll. One last look at the comments. Keith says X2D or H2C, that is the question. Yeah, that's a whole conversation for another time, Keith. But we should chat about that one day and do a side-by-side comparison of the specs and the cost, and see, and your needs, and see what the best solution is. Do I have a link to that cabinet? Yes, I do. In fact, now that I have the chat back, Keith, let me send you that Etsy. Let me put that in the chat as well for the LED sign. Okay, here we go. Okay, that should take you there, I hope. Yeah. Okay. So that's the, let me get the link for the cabinet. All on Amazon. Okay. Oops. Get over here. Live stream. 3D printer drying cabinet. There you go. All right. Terrell says you can duplicate bamboo filament tags, but you cannot create brand new custom tags without Bamboo's private digital signing key. Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I figured it would be too easy, right? You can clone an existing tag to a writable magic card FUID. Thank you, Terrell, for that information. Uh, there you go. That's what I'm laughing at, guys. That's awesome. All right. Wow. We've been live for 2 hours and 6 minutes. I didn't really think it was going to go that long. So I guess when you're having fun, at least I'm having fun. I hope you are. Time flies. All right. So I appreciate you all for being here. I hope to be back next Saturday. Hopefully the weather breaks here. And for those of you who are having the heat wave throughout the country and abroad the pond, hopefully you like the tweaks, the minor tweaks I made to the studio. Appreciate you letting me share that with you and appreciate you letting me take you on my 3D learning journey. I will be getting back to doing videos. I hope the call with TerraMaster goes well Monday night so that I can get beyond the 3D, not the 3D, the AI stumbling block that I'm having. Again, Tim, thank you for sending the GMK Tech G3 to use as a home assistant bare metal machine. Much appreciated. Having lots of fun amidst trying to get out there and work. I wanted to talk about a whole home audio job that I sold this week. I think this past week, this week, I'll be doing the install. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that next week, and I'll show you the gear and, tell you the situation and stuff like that next week. So in any event, thank you all. I appreciate you. Hope to see you next Saturday. Have a great week. Stay cool. And until then, talk to you later.